Everybody, just getting started in a moment. Thanks for all of you who are already here. Some of you are early birds. There we go. All right. And we're live, and I'm a moment early, so I don't want to start before everybody else gets here. They'll be upset that they missed something, right? Let me see. Excuse me while I zoom in. My camera's a little crooked, I feel like. Am I crooked, guys? Am I all right? I don't want to make anybody's neck hurt trying to look at me. Well, maybe a little bit. All right, that's all right. We'll be a little wonky today. Just tilt your head this way. It'll work out just fine. Hey, everybody. This is Dr. Brooke Goldner from Goodbye Lupus. And I just want to welcome you to Wednesday. It's Wellness Wednesday. When I come on just to donate some time to the public to help you with your recoveries, with your happiness, with your health, with your nutrition, with the burning questions you have. It's just so nice to be able to be a part of your lives, and I appreciate all the feedback. I actually got some snail mail letters this week with just testimonials of people, and I read some of them so I can post them and share with the world. But it's always great to be able to be a part of your lives in a positive way, especially when things can be difficult times. And I thought, why not start this session today with that? So this week, since the end of last week, especially in this week, a lot of the sessions I have are people asking me how to keep a positive mindset in today's world. And that can mean a lot, right? I mean, listen, the US, we just had an election, which no matter what side people were rooting for was stressful. Some people are still stressed. There's so much going on in the world. Hate and violence and crimes and wars and deaths. And for some people in their own homes, they're dealing with emotional violence and in their own neighborhoods. So there's a lot in the world that can bring you down if you let it. And so I wanted to talk a little bit today about how to help yourself have better moods in the face of all of the stuff that's going on in the world. Now, of course, if you are dealing with violence in your own home, you need to get to a safe place, even if it's going to a doctor and letting them know. But if it's more just the weight of the world affecting you and politics and war and all those things, let's talk about how you can find a little bit of safety so that you don't go down with it, right? We need to be able to be emotionally well and resilient in order to be a part of the good in this world, right? Because as Mr. Rogers said, his mother used to tell him, whenever you see something awful in the world, always look for the helpers, because there's always helpers. Well, it's important that all of us who can be a force for good in this world. And we can't be a force for good if we're laying in bed with an ice pack on our forehead, just lamenting all the things we're upset about. So I wanted to give you a little bit of that today before we get to the questions. And I know already people are writing in all the questions. So let's talk about that. I'll tell you what I've been doing to recover from all of the news and politics and all the things. Number one is it's okay sometimes to go on a news diet. A news diet, I call it. So right now I'm on a news diet because I was overdosed on news and political news for months, and I needed to lower my news calories. All right. So what I'm doing now is, I will once a day just check the headlines to see if there's anything important for me to know. I am not listening to any political commentaries. I'm not listening to any news stations. It used to be on my way to the gym and other places, I'd put my political podcasts and news shows on. None of that. I am listening to 80s pop in my car. That's what I'm listening to. And I am dancing around because to me, there is nothing happier than 80s pop. It just makes me happy. I know all the words to everything, and it's always a good time. Now, my son puts his own headphones in because for him, it's going to be something else. AJR, good boy. It's actually good kid. I call it good boy just to stress him out. But try going on a news diet and give yourself a break. All right. I'm not saying put your head in the ground, but I'm saying that sometimes when we get too full of all the news in the world, it makes it so we can't function and we get depressed and feel bad and feel like we can't function in this world. There's too much negativity. I don't want to be here. We don't want that. We need to be able to rebuild our strength. So I recommend that if you need to see the headlines, you need to see what's going on, check it like once a day, but don't just turn on and leave the news going. it can bring you down. So that's number one thing that I really find helps people with their moods. 2, listening to music. Anytime when I'm not working, I have the music on. Whether it's getting ready in the morning, whether it's while I'm making food, I love listening to music. And it's a really, really beautiful and healing thing to do for yourself, especially stuff that you can bop around and dance and sing along to. If you are someone who prefers podcasts, then listen to uplifting podcasts. I just started one that was, oh my goodness, what's her name? I'm going to look it up because I don't want to get it wrong. I want to say Elaine from Seinfeld, which now you know all know who she is. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She has a podcast called Wiser Than Me. And it's her interviewing people who have done amazing things, who have beautiful stories of resilience and wisdom. And I love good news. So find something that makes you feel happy if you're going to listen to something that's a podcast instead of something that's music. The other thing that's really important for mental health is exercise. I am telling you that I need that boost of endorphins in the morning. Went to the gym this morning. I have a boot camp I go to. And what I love about boot camp is not only do they make me work way harder than I would on my own, hands down, but 2, it's a social group. So I've been at this new boot camp now. It's my newer one since August. And now when I walk in, the ladies ask me like, oh, how's your mom? She comes a little bit after me usually. And they ask me questions. They smile at me. We joke around together. And it's so nice to have this time that's for myself and my mental health before I even start working for the day. So make sure that you're doing something. Listen, if you're in so much pain that you can't get off the couch, fine, do something else that's uplifting. But in general, if you can exercise, then adding that to your life is going to help. So you get wonderful endorphins, dopamine, and just wonderful, great chemicals in your brain that are hard to get any other way and have been proven over and over again in head-to-head trials to be better than psychiatric therapy and medication when it's on its own. When you combine it with the right psychiatric care, it amplifies everything to be better. So it's the best thing you can do for your mental health as well as your physical health, in addition to eating well, is exercise. And like I said, I like the social aspect as well. It gives me more self-care. The other is to have some fun. Let me have some water. I know after last week, my husband's like, you know what? We're just going to have so much fun this weekend. We're going to forget all things going on in the world. We're just going to have fun. And he did it, actually. It was pretty amazing. But there's so much going on. We actually went on a bus tour of our city. We live here, but we've never been on a bus tour to learn about it. And we learned so many cool facts. And it was a 2.5-hour tour. And we had a great time learning things about our city that were so cool. So much fun. And then once we got dropped off, we just started exploring and found all these little cool places that we hadn't seen before. And I mean, it was one thing after another, so much so that I needed a rest after all the fun of the weekend. Then after that was Saturday, we were just exploring all day. Sunday, we saw some of our really good friends and enjoyed some quality time with people who are always positive and make us feel seen and loved and make us laugh. So being with people who are fun and make you feel good, also really good for your moods. The other thing I'd recommend if you're seeing people, you have to be willing to interrupt conversations that lower your mood, that lower your vibe, that make you feel stressed. So let's say you're taking a news break, you're on a news diet, you're on a politics diet, right? And then someone brings up the election or a war or something. It's okay to say, hey, you know what? I'm actually working on a news diet right now. I'm trying to work on my mental health and my happiness. Can we keep things positive? I cannot talk about politics right now. Let's talk about anything else. Tell me about your kids. Tell me what's good. Have you heard a funny joke? But be willing to do that. And if people are insisting on getting riled up and negative, then just excuse yourself and walk away. But don't let yourself stay in conversations that make you feel stressed or down. And this is good all the time. A lot of times people will tell me that, oh, it's just hard whenever my spouse starts talking about they have different politics than me and it gets me all stressed out. It's okay to just say, hey, you know what? Politics stress me out. Talk about that with your friends who agree with you. Let's talk about something else and let them know so that they can be more supportive of you. But definitely be willing to make, that's called a boundary, but be willing to let people know, and so that you can change those conversations. Read for pleasure. A lot of the folks I see, they are either reading about health, they're reading about very important stuff. I get it, it's important, but also read for pleasure. I like to end my day reading something that's fun, that's beautiful, that's inspiring. Historical fictions, I like things that are fun and don't make you feel more stressed and sad about things in the world. When I'm looking at reviews for books, I want to see that it's uplifting. Whenever someone's like, oh, makes you really feel the depth of tragedy. No, thanks. I know tragedy. I've been through tragedy. I don't want to feel that. I want to be uplifted and entertained. So talk to your friends, see who read something good. One of my favorite books that I've read in the past year is The Hail Mary Project. Amazing book. I heard there's a movie coming out that's going to be soon. The Ryan that's from Barbie, he's going to be in there, so it's going to be a good movie. But absolutely fantastic book that will just take you away from your life and your problems and into a fantasy world that's super incredible. Science fiction, if you like it. So make sure you do that. And every day, especially at the end of the day, end with your gratitude list or celebration journal. Don't go to bed thinking about the stuff that stresses you out. Go to bed celebrating everything that's going well. And if you're struggling to think of something, that means you need this even more. Sit down with a pen and paper and actually write down, because you want to get away from screens at night, and think of everything you can, everything you're grateful for in this world, in your body, in your life, that makes you glad you're still here in spite of all the woe that's all around us, okay? So I hope that my little list of what I do to help myself stay positive and happy in spite of all the other stuff that can definitely drag you down, I hope that helps all of you who are struggling with the same. So speaking of celebrations, I saw a whole bunch of them that already got posted. So I want to acknowledge the ones that I've already seen. And then I also see a whole bunch of questions. So since I'm talking about celebrations, so let's start there because it's fun. Okay, let's see. So this one is from Laura. And it says, just want to thank you again, Dr. Goldner, healed from over 9 years of being mostly bedridden from pain, fatigue, and neurological impairment from Lyme disease. Also, a dozen family and friends now on GAIDP. So goodbye, autoimmune disease protocol. So this is a question I get asked a lot, actually, is about Lyme. And so I'm so glad to see Laura celebrating that. And I'm so happy for you, Laura. I mean, 9 years healthy and counting. So I'm super happy for you. Let me see. Oh, plant-powered peddler Janet. Let's see. So she has a celebration over here on YouTube. And it says, Dr. G, I'm so encouraged as your hypernurse with 96 ounces of water each day seems to be clearing up a skin breakout on my face that my doctor wanted me to take antibiotics for. Bless you. Well, congratulations. I'm actually going to be doing some, I think it's going to be live news. Yeah, live news next week on a local station who wants me to teach about how you can have healthy, ageless skin on a budget. And I'll be talking all about how important it is to take care of your skin from the inside. There's no secret there, but it will be for the general public. So I'm so glad you're already seeing that, plant-powered Janet. Let's see here. I saw some other good ones. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here's Zach. Was it Gray Beal, I think it says. So Zach says, I've been doing your hypernourishing protocol for almost a year now, and I'm never going back. God's breath of life is coming to the people through your work. Thank you for being persistent. So I'm so happy. Look at all these. So all of you who are struggling, I want you to just look at all the different types of issues people are recovering from. Here is one from Tess. So thank you, Tess, for posting. So Tess wrote, thank you, Dr. Goldner. Your protocol helped me with Crohn's disease. I had calprotectin levels of 2,500 after prednisolone. With your protocol alone and without any medication, it went down to 102. Thank you. Tess, you're welcome. And that's what we've seen across the board. When people work with us for Crohn's disease, and Tess is just letting me know on her own, their calprotectin disappears, usually within the first month. And that is the marker that shows people have Crohn's disease. That's how quickly people get better from a disease that otherwise causes doctors to want to take your intestines out. People are healing very quickly on our Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol. So I'm so happy for you, Tess. So around the board, whether it's Lyme or Crohn's or all these other issues people are dealing with, they're finding celebrations and help by doing this protocol. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself. And if you're looking for a reason to try, just make sure that you do. One of the letters that I'm going to read out for a video so you can see the whole thing that I got was a letter from someone who watched a 1 hour talk of mine on YouTube. And I didn't mention anyone with her symptoms, but she decided to do my protocol anyway. And 4 years of suffering are over and she's completely healed. And it's been a year since she healed. And she was just letting me know it's her 1 year anniversary. So don't wait to see, like, if I named your name in order to try it. You can always start taking care of yourself. All right, let's see what the questions are today. All right, let's see here. All right, I don't see any comments yet in the Smoothie Shred. Let's see what Instagrammers are doing. I am Dick Stroud just says, hey. Oh, hello, Type BN dietetic student from Maine. Awesome. Kelly Bell want to know, any reason you stopped using vitamin E oil for skin? Yeah, I think they changed the formula or something, because I've been using the same vitamin E oil for like over a decade, probably 15 years. And then one day I went to use it and it kind of made me irritated. My skin kind of broke out, and then I stopped it and it went away. And then I tried it and the same thing happened. I tried it like 3 times. And I was like, all right, something happened. So I kind of have sensitive skin. And yeah, I don't know what happened. It was perfect and wonderful. And then I don't know, it bothers me. So I don't use it at all. I just use the shea butter and enjoy my very, very moisturized skin. So yeah, that's the only reason. It just, I think something changed about the brand and it just was irritating my skin. I don't know why they did that or what happened. Jilly Dilly says, loving my spoon salads. Thank you, Solomon. Yep, Solomon loves spoon salads. I have a video on that if you're curious what that is. Just chopping everything really tiny so you can eat it with a spoon. Lavender Skies 213 says, hi, Dr. G. Any tips on how to follow protocol when traveling? Absolutely. It's just about being prepared. So during the travel time, you bring your food with you, right? So if you're in the car, awesome. Just pack some big bags of fruits and vegetables. They don't really need to be refrigerated. Very easy as you're driving. We used to drive cross country all over the U.S., and we would do that and just say, we'd put the big bags in the back and just let the kids say, hey, pass me a carrot, pass me a cucumber, like pass me an apple, whatever. We would just like stay just eating fresh food on the road, stop at a Walmart or a supermarket whenever we needed to, and then keep going because there's not much we'd want to eat from any of the rest stops. If you're on a plane, you can take a full-size shopping bag worth of food on the plane, and it doesn't count towards your carry-on. What we found is, how once people, when you go on a plane, there's your carry-on bag, and then people often buy something to eat, right? And that bag, they just can bring on. It's their food. Same thing. So we will pack those bags full of fruits and vegetables. You can make little salad containers, bring avocados. We had a client in our group said that actually, no, she wasn't in my group. She was a private client. She said that the flight attendant was amazed when she put out her own set and made a nicely created salad right there on the spot. So you can bring all that stuff with you, and there's no problem with that. So if you're flying internationally, take a lot, and just know you can't bring any of your leftovers off the plane. You're not allowed to bring food off a plane from somewhere else. But that's pretty good. And then traveling from place to place, just plan ahead. So anywhere you go, for the most part, is going to have markets. So wherever you are, go to the markets, find out where they are, fill up your room. Again, fruits and vegetables don't really require much refrigeration or anything, so you can have all that fresh food available and be prepared to take it with you. There are, at least in the States, hotels usually have a refrigerator, and if they don't, you can request one. And I have been told that if you say it's for a medical condition, they won't charge you for the refrigerator. And I would say that if you are trying to reverse a disease with nutrition, that's a medical condition. I would be asking for that. And then, of course, if you're staying at a hotel, let them know in advance. Thomas and I have done our full protocol from many different hotels, and they will do it. All you have to do is let the maitre d' know exactly what you want. So one time we did the protocol because right out we were teaching at a relationship conference for a week in Palm Springs. And then right after that conference, we were being photographed for Fit Over 40. So Fit Over 40. So back in the day, in case you haven't seen that. All right. So we were being photographed for this photo shoot for fitness. And so, of course, we want to look good. And so the best way to get super shredded really quickly is to do our raw protocol. Our Goodbye Lupus protocol is awesome. So we were teaching about 12 hours a day on stage, but we would take a break, work out, and then we would go to, there was a place that would make smoothies. We'd tell them what we wanted, and they make us giant smoothies. And then we'd go to the restaurant at the hotel for lunch and dinner. The first time we ordered our salad for lunch, it was like this big. And we sent it back twice until they got it that we really meant this big, like the size they used to toss it, give us that. And once they got it right, we gave them the thumbs up. Every time we showed up, lunch and dinner, they just brought out that big salad without us having to order anything. And then a bowl of guacamole and a bowl of pico de gallo, which is raw chopped salsa. I have a recipe for it in my Goodbye Lupus Hello Delicious book. Very easy to make. And so once they knew us, there was nothing. So yeah, first you might have to let them know, like, no, we don't mean a little salad. We want pounds of produce, right? But once they understood it, no problem. We got it every time, and it was great. So you have to call ahead, you have to ask, find out what's there, and do some planning. If you get an Airbnb, you buy it yourself, and make your vacation about all of the exciting things you're going to see and do rather than food. And if there are people insisting on eating crappy somewhere and you don't want to go there, then while they're eating, go do some sightseeing, get a massage, go see a nice vista. And then when they're done eating, meet up with them again and continue on your tour. And that way you actually build in some really great self-care time while they're doing that. So this is great traveling doing this. All right. All right. And then I'll do one more Instagram. We'll go over to YouTube. So this one is Armand Professionals, LLC. Hi, Dr. Brooke. I have a question. I know you're in the premenopausal age. Can you tell about how that's going for you? And has your diet helped with that process? So I'm actually perimenopausal, very exciting, meaning that I'm in the change. I'm not fully changed. So you're not considered through menopause until you've not had a period for a year. So that is not me, but it's in that weird in-between stage where it's like 4 months off, and then it'll be like 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks in between, and then 2 months, and then 4 months. So it's just doing weird stuff. I feel perfectly normal though. I can't say that I have any symptoms at all. So I would say that it's going really well. I do not plan to do any hormonal treatments or anything like that, but I feel perfectly like myself. So the only symptom I've ever gotten of anything with hormones at all is sometimes with a period I can get a headache, which has always been the case. So it just proves no matter how healthy you are, hormones can get you. So that can be an issue because, if it's like 2 weeks away, but it really hasn't been that much, and especially not lately. So yeah, I think it's going well. I'm not having any kind of problems. I feel great. I feel strong, and my moods are good. So yeah, it's going well, I'd say. And I've had a lot of clients say that they've gotten the same thing. Whether it's going through menopausal symptoms or even period issues. Actually, someone in my rapid recovery group today, we're in the 5th week. She just posted that she realized she's not getting hot flashes anymore. So a lot of folks find that they feel dramatically better hormonally as well as from other things. I mean, we've also had a lot of folks who thought they were infertile become pregnant right at the end of my group or within a couple weeks after. So much so I realized recently I might have to warn people about that. In case you were told you can't be fertile, yes, you can. There's a good chance you can. So we had someone post in Smoothie Shred that they'd had multiple IVF pregnancies, and after doing our protocol, they had their first natural pregnancy and birth. So hormonally, we know it's good wherever you are in that cycle. So now that I've overshared about my my stage of life, let's see what's going on in yours. Okay, let's see here. Daily Occasion says, I've had systemic scleroderma and Sjogren's for 17 years. I have severe trouble swallowing. Has anyone had the swallowing ability heal? I have seen people improve in swallowing and definitely major improvements in scleroderma. It's one of the best things you can do with a disease that doesn't have much help. So go all in and see how much better you can get. That's my recommendation. Quicks PR wants to know, can any of the protocols help with a benign tumor on the adrenal gland? I don't know. We don't know what this tumor is. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. But in terms of optimizing your body's ability to fight back against things like cancer, yes, absolutely. I mean, the research is profound on how much things like cruciferous vegetables can positively impact people. especially in terms of cancer, infections, all sorts of other issues. And the rest of our protocol helps specialize on cellular repair. So I would always recommend whatever your health issue you're going through, optimize your nutrition through what I teach, and then find out the information. And then let me know what happens. Let me know what happens. Let's see. Brigitte Khan says, need hope. A 17-year-old female kidney transplant recipient recently received news she has donor-specific antibodies. She's scheduled for a biopsy. Is there any hope your protocol could help her? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So when someone's had a transplant, that's not like autoimmune disease. This is her body thinking it's doing the right thing, right? It's trying to attack a foreign body, which is what our immune systems are supposed to do. So usually the only thing they can do to prevent this is immunosuppression. So that said, though, I had a client who had had a heart transplant and thought he was going to need a kidney transplant. He did my rapid recovery group and then no longer needed the kidney transplant. He had amyloidosis and it reversed. So, but he still had the heart transplant and he had a lot of side effects on his medications that he had to do for immunosuppression. And he was able to successfully lower his need for medication and not have any relapses. But I don't recommend anybody mess with those things. His own doctor was the one who was in charge of that and making sure that his medicines were where they needed to be. So I don't know that it would make an impact because, again, this is not an abnormality of the immune system. It's the immune system doing what it thinks it's supposed to. But in terms of recovery for, recovering from the biopsy and optimizing her body's health, as well as whatever preconditions necessitated the transplant, it's still a great idea to do. There's always hope. All right. Bob wants to know, can hypernourishment or the Goodbye Lupus Protocol help with non-diabetic peripheral neuropathy? We have had really great results with that. So non-diabetic peripheral neuropathy, we've seen it. A bunch of people that have reversed it had it all as a result of cancer treatments. So a lot of times when people have radiation or chemotherapy, they can get neuropathies from the treatment, even when they're in remission from their cancer. And they found they can quickly reverse that, at least in our rapid recovery programs. So if it is inflammatory, then we have seen improvements. If it was damage, the example I always give is I had a tennis player, a retired gentleman who used to play tennis, who had neuropathy where he couldn't feel his feet from pounding those feet all day long, playing tennis for hours and hours a day. And while his blood sugar was perfect and his cholesterol was great, he got off all the medicines he needed for that, we never got his feet back. Those nerves were dead. So as long as it's inflammatory or it's a result of the body not having what it needs to complete the repair process, then yes, but it just depends on what happened there. There's no downside to trying. Okay, let's see here. Let's go down to the Facebook side of things. All right. Okay, let's see what Smoothie Shreds asking. So Leah wants to know, 2 questions. If omega-6 is impairing omega-3 and should be limited, how is the evaluation of saturated fat versus omega-3? You're going to avoid saturated fat. There's no saturated fat on the Goodbye Lupus Protocol. But it doesn't compete with omega-3, but it can cause inflammation on a different pathway. On that note, is it fine to include coconut oil and dark chocolate in desserts on step down and maintenance? Coconut oil is not something you should be consuming. Coconut oil, I have seen multiple clients where that just shot their cholesterol through the roof, and it is saturated fat that can be pro-inflammatory. So that would be what I call recreational eating and maintenance. So maintenance means you've maintained great health on step down for 6 months or more, have had no relapses. Then yes, if you want to have something inflammatory once or twice a week, that's when you would have your chocolate or coconut. All right, let's see. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Tracy said, Dr. G, you are my good news every week. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm on your gratitude list. Thank you. David wants to know, my 92-year-old father has been having tummy issues. Do you think smoothies would help? It would depend on the cause of the issue. So I don't know what's going on in his tummy. But for many folks, yes, it is a soothing balm. People with reflux, other things, find that they feel great on them. And then with other folks, there's already an ulcer or something where everything hurts and they might not feel so much better. So it would really depend. But most folks, especially elderly folks, could use some good smoothie in their life. It can reverse some of that aging process, help their bowels, help them feel more energized. It's a good thing. Okay, let's see Facebook over here. Right. Bettina wants to know how many grams is a half cup of flax seeds. I don't know, but that's easy to find out. I just go by the half cup measurement, a measuring cup. But if you want to weigh that, you can totally do that. I've never weighed it because I measure it by measuring cup. All right. Laura, if lettuce hardly has any nutrition, do we really need to eat salads? If so, instead, you can get your nourishment in any way you want. All right. Smoothies are a way that have made it a lot easier for folks, right? It's easy to kind of work and drink. And, you know, if I had a salad on my desk, that could be a bit messy. Back when I first got my health back, I didn't know about smoothies. And so I just literally brought pounds of broccoli, cauliflower, and other veggies and a thing of guac to work and just set it down and worked on it all day long. But salads are a fun way to me to get food in. I eat salads pretty much every day. And you can mix it up. Lettuce, a lot of times people like the crunch and the flavor of it. So it's up to you. I like certain kinds of lettuce. Personally, I do not like things that are wilty and soft. So I don't use spring mix in my salads because it's not for me. I like crunchy. So for me, I would put romaine for the lettuce, but then I use cabbage for the crunch. And romaine is crunchier too. So it's just to add another flavor, another thing in there. But the nutrition you're getting, you're right, the higher nutrition levels you're going to get from the cruciferous vegetables. And then lettuce and cucumbers and celery and other stuff that's lower in nutrient profile, you're adding that for the flavor and the fun. That's all. All right. Let's see here. Hi, Beth in Tulsa. Okay. Let's see here. Wow. Okay. Colleen said, so I asked my doctor if she could order a B12 test because I'm on a plant-based diet. And she said I wouldn't become deficient for 5 to 10 years, if at all, that she's been vegan 35 years, has never taken a supplement, that I could take one if I wanted, but she doesn't think I need it. What do you think? I think that could be dangerous. I know that there are folks who really are anti-supplement. Some of my friends are. Everything I teach comes from experience, though. So I don't just read something and teach it. I just don't find that to be purely ethical. Just for myself, I only want to teach what I've actually seen and witnessed and tried and experienced, and not something that I read, because you could read one thing and then read another thing and all that. So in my experience, I have treated people who have been B12 deficient and had neurological problems because of it. So since I have personally witnessed that multiple times, I always recommend that people test it. And so you can ask her anyway. Say, hey, listen, I know that you don't normally do that, but would you mind doing it for me just so I could get it off my mind? I've heard that, you know, people can get neurological issues. It would make me happy to know that my dosage is correct. If not, you can order it and pay out of pocket. At least in the States you can, or you can just take the supplement. And if you have no neurological issues and you feel good, then there's nothing to change. But yes, I have seen people become deficient. My guess is she's eating other things that are fortified. So for example, fortified nutritional yeast has B12 in it. There are others, sometimes people buy vegan products that are fortified. So she's getting it from somewhere. But I would recommend that you take it and possibly test it. Okay. Let's see. And Sharon wants to know, how do you prevent smoothies from staining your teeth? Straws are a good thing. I just started using these straws. I don't know if they're silly, but I saw this on Amazon and I had to try it. And it's a flat straw. I don't know if you see that. I put it on my Amazon list because I thought it's fun. It's just a flat straw. Since I'm an old lady now, I'm like 2 months away from 48. And I went, oh, am I getting the lines yet? I don't think so, but I don't want to get the lines. So this is a flat one. But what I like about it is you can put it in your mouth and just kind of shoot the food to the back of the throat. So I don't put the smoothie on the front of my teeth because I use a straw. If you're drinking out of a cup, it's hitting the front of your teeth. So that's one of the reasons I like a straw, even if it might cause mouth wrinkles. I'd rather do that because I don't want it sitting on my teeth. So sometimes that could be the issue. I also know there's swishers out there. How many of you are swishers, right? The people who they take a sip of smoothie and for some reason they compulsively kind of put it around their mouth. I've seen people get cavities from that if you leave it sitting on your teeth. But I talked to my dentist. They said that the smoothies actually make your teeth stronger, even if you do get staining. But to avoid the staining, don't swish, use a straw, and use a regular toothpaste. A lot of folks that try to do healthy, natural stuff give up regular toothpaste, and then they end up having major issues with their teeth. I tried that back in the day. Normally, I have wonderful dentist visits, and then I went in and had a lot of scraping. And he goes, did you switch to some kind of natural baking soda toothpaste? And I said, I did. And he goes, oh, man, I just see it ruin people's teeth. So I went, okay, not everything natural then. So that also helps, So I know a lot of people are trying to avoid things like fluoride, but fluoride inside the body is different than fluoride on the teeth that you rinse off. So all of those things can help. Okay, let's see if there's any other Facebook ones here. Morgan... Does it say Morgan? Yeah, Morgan wants to know, is there another non-dairy milk alternative besides almond? I eliminated almond milk and the itchy skin and allergy stuff. I don't know if I have a nut allergy or intolerance. So when it comes to the Goodbye Lupus protocol, the reason there's only the unsweetened almond milk as an option is because that's what we have tested. So realize the testing that we did on this program is many years ago, over 15 years ago. And really at the time, it was just soy milk and unsweetened almond milk were the choices for non-dairy milk. And we found that a lot of people had reactions to soy, so that got off the list. And then the soy milk and the unsweetened almond milk was fine. We didn't really see problems with that. So that's what we did. Now, are there other alternatives nowadays? Yes, there's everything from flax milk to cashew milk to all sorts of things that you can find. We just haven't tested them. So if you're getting great results and you want to try adding one of those and see how you feel, you can just watch the fat content, because the reason that we use that is that it's mostly water. It's like almond flavored water versus when people make it at home and it's pretty dense and thick and fat, and that's going to raise your omega-6, which during the healing process is a problem. Once you're in remission, it doesn't matter. You could probably use any of them. But it's just our testing is the reason. So the other thing you can do is just not use recipes with plant milks in them. Let's see what else. All right, let's go back over here. All right. Alice wants to know on Instagram, Dr. G, my dad has an enlargement of the heart muscle and fiber sick. Can this protocol help? Well, I don't know what your father's diagnosis is. It sounds like if it's a ventricular enlargement, left-sided enlargement, things that happen from high blood pressure, for example, then yes, absolutely. I mean, generally speaking, this is really good for the heart. I help people reverse heart failure, AFib, high cholesterol, high cholesterol affects your heart too, but I meant to say high blood pressure. So all the things that affect the heart have been shown to improve on the protocol. So I would definitely add that to the list. Mariana wants to know, I'd like to know your opinion on stem cells. Thanks. So again, for me to have an opinion, it means that I've had to have experience with how they work for people. And I don't. I have had a couple clients who came to me who got stem cells for autoimmune disease, who reported an initial improvement, and then they relapsed again, which, they're often paying like $50,000 or more for these treatments. When I talked to somebody at the Lupus Foundation who had been following this, she said she was really excited when they first came out. She found that that's been the case. This is secondhand, that oftentimes about 6 months later, they lose the results. So that's not from me watching, but I have had clients that have failed stem cells, but did recover using nutrition. When you actually allow your body to repair the damage, it's a whole nother thing. Remember, if you weren't born with lupus, your body knows how to be lupus free. Just needs help getting back to that baseline. All right, let's see here. Oh, Nicole, you come on every time. I love it. She every week. Hi, Dr. G. Thank you for saving my life. You're welcome. Thank you for always making me smile. I absolutely love this. Oh, there's so much love here. Carla, thank you. I love you back. Thank you, Elizabeth Allen. All right, let's see here. Okay. So Annie Money says, hi, I'm Anita. I have lupus, but because of my pain and surgery in April, time and fracture, I'm on hydromorphine every day, 2 milligrams a day for 7 months. Is that bad for me? Nobody wants to stay on a pain medication like that long term. If you're asking, can you get better while on the medicine? Yes. I have helped people who've been on chronic pain medicines who have been able to reverse the damage, but often after that long, you have to get some help tapering so you don't have withdrawal. Let me see. Matt Dudelsky says, hi, Dr. G. How many greens and seeds do you get in every day? Is hypernourishment your maintenance? And do you soak seeds, beans, and grains before eating? So yes, I hypernourish for my maintenance. These are not props. These are actual things that I'm considering. Oh, I'm almost done. I've only got 14 ounces left on this water bottle. So I was sweating hard at the gym today, right? So these are not props. This is my food. This is my water. Yeah, so I hypernourish for maintenance. No, I don't soak my seeds. If I'm making beans from scratch, then I soak them, right? So if I'm gonna, they're rocks, so you have to soak them to, I'll do that. But yeah, grains, no. I'm pretty simple. I am not a chef. I feel like McCoy from the original Star Trek. I'm a doctor, not a chef. So I go for simple. I go for simple. I like the smoothies because I can just blend it up and just refill my cup all day. Beautiful, easy. Salads, I love a lot of pre-chopped stuff. I'll buy a bag of pre-chopped romaine and cabbage and stuff over just taking the time to chop it a lot of times, especially during the week. On the weekend, I don't mind making something. It's fun to take the time to do that. But I'm pretty simple and go for easy. I will use canned beans on top of a salad. If I'm doing those things and I'm not having any negative effects from them and my clients aren't either, then that's good enough. So, but if you like doing all that stuff, that's great too. Okay. Free Holloway. If having soup on hypernourishment, does that count towards water intake? If not, is it dangerous to have that many fluids a day, a gallon plus anything else? I don't count it towards the water intake because I've always measured water as just water. So if you're having soup, then no, I don't count that as water. But how much soup are you having, right? If you have a little bowl of soup and you have a gallon of water, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. In fact, soup usually is pretty salty. So adding extra water probably would be just fine because people usually add a considerable amount of salt to soup. And if you find that you are nauseous or don't want water, that also gives you a signal. But usually the salt in the soup would already compensate for any extra fluid. And you can always have 96 ounces of water. But if you feel like you're not thirsty at all, like you've overwatered yourself, you stop drinking water. But no, I mean, you'd have to be drinking gallons of other fluids in order to make it so that the water you drink was a problem. But a bowl of soup's not gonna make a negative change. It's not gonna be a problem unless you. I was gonna say people who have chronic hyponatremia or low blood salt levels need to be more careful. But if that was you, you wouldn't be talking about having soup and a gallon of water. So let's see here. All right, let's go back over to YouTube. All right. Plants Only Muncher. That's a good name. I'm a plants only muncher too. Goodbye Lupus Protocol. Can I have store-bought salsa, canned tomato sauce, pickled jalapenos, and raw corn on the cob? I'd say if you're doing the full protocol, if you're trying to reverse disease, then no, I wouldn't do these. The pickled jalapenos, maybe if it's just the jalapenos and some brine and there's no sugar or anything, okay. But no, the other stuff would not be on protocol. Let's see. Dawn, what are your thoughts on genetic testing and methylation testing? I don't have a lot of thoughts on that. I personally don't do these tests. I mean, methylation tests can kind of give insight into your methylation pathway, which can affect the aging process and development of different kinds of illnesses. But I only order tests when it's going to impact what I do. So since it doesn't really change what my course of action is, I don't typically do that. And the cool thing is there have been studies, like even the most recent study that was done on the twins, that showed that the plant-based diet actually benefits methylation pathways and actually lowered the epigenetic age of the twin that was on the plant-based diet versus the twin that was eating the diet that had some meat included in it as well. So it's pretty cool that they saw those kind of differences. And I believe it was 2 months at the time. So since it doesn't really change what I do, I don't typically test those things. Okay, let's see here. All right, let's see. Andrew, I've just purchased a Nutrimix. Should you add cooked mushrooms because they're good for health? I don't know what a Nutrimix is. Is that a blender? I eat my mushrooms. I actually prefer my mushrooms raw. I find they can hold a nice amount of guacamole. I know there's people who have different thoughts about that, but I've never seen any harm from it, and I enjoy them. If I cook them, I'm pretty particular about how I cook them. I'm not into slimy mushrooms, so I don't like them in like a soup or anything. But if you like them and you're in good health and you want to cook them in a soup or something, you can totally do that. Okay, let's see. What time is it? Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good. Let's see. Plant-powered peddler Janet says, I would love to have you do a talk for my Zoom group, but I know you're busy. Would you talk with a small group of women for Zoom? Yeah, just shoot me an email and put all caps Zoom group at the top so I know to go look for it later, and see what we can put together for your Zoom group. All right, let's see here. All right. Lego Jams, a musical channel for Lego building. That sounds fascinating. I began the Goodbye Lupus Protocol 4 weeks ago. I have Ellen lupus nephritis, class 3 out of 5. Kidney stabilized last year with monthly Benlysta. Lupus still active in detox mode, now covered in painful rashes. Can applying a topical steroid hinder detox? No, it does not hinder detox. Just make sure that the rashes detox and not because you're having an allergic reaction to something. So even though it can happen, usually the detox reactions that I see happen in by the end of the first week, and then they start getting better in the second week. Now, of course, these are people I'm watching and I'm making sure they're doing everything right. Sometimes it can be longer, but even if that happens, if the itchy rash is one of the things they're experiencing, I still test the ingredients one at a time to make sure that they're not actually allergic to something. But yes, you can use topical steroids and it doesn't interfere with your healing. Purity and plants. Is there any reason for using almonds instead of cashews in your salad dressing? In my almond Caesar, it's because I like the taste of it. So I find that cashews make a more cheesy, creamy flavor, and the almonds give it more of that Caesar-y taste I like. So yeah, there was no other reason for that. In my Hello Delicious book, that one has avocado Caesars and non-nut dressings, everything for people trying to heal. But yes, I use nuts in maintenance, and it just depends on the flavor I'm trying to achieve. Okay, let's see here. All right, Linda says, I have neuroendocrine cancer that affects my bowels and it gives me diarrhea. My question is, what's more important to get in, the water or the green drink? They're both important, but you can experiment with the best ways to get the foods in dealing with your symptoms. Okay, so some people find that small little cups of smoothie throughout the day works. Others find that when they already have loose stool, the smoothie is a bit much and they prefer having small salads throughout the day. So it's really going to be depending on your symptoms, what feels better in your gut. But you do need both. You need water and you need the nutrition from the food. So the way hypernourishment works and the way our protocol works is we're optimizing the nutrients your body uses for cellular repair. So the reason we focus on the cruciferous vegetables is because if you eat cruciferous vegetables, you're basically getting all the nutrients that all the other things, if you ate the rainbow combined, would have. So if you're going to focus your diet on something, you can eat rainbow also, but if you're going to focus on something, the cruciferous is the king, right? The water is necessary for all these chemical reactions to take place and for the proper functioning in your organs. The omega-3s are necessary for cellular metabolism and anti-inflammatory immunity, all that. So it's all of those together is what creates that nutrition overdose called hypernourishment that causes such rapid disease reversal. And considering you have cancer, you need all of it, right? So you need the cruciferous vegetables, which are anti-cancer. Johns Hopkins has done awesome research showing that, right? In addition to having all the other nutrients you need for cellular repair to help your immune system fight back, water intake, all of it. So I'd be looking at, here's the minimums of everything. How do I spread these out throughout the day so I can get what I need in without having intolerable side effects. This is often people work with me too to help, tinker with it. Rapid recovery, we do that a lot in my rapid recovery group. A lot of times people who have gut issues or problems will join that so that I can tinker until we find a way to get all the nourishment in a way that their gut will allow, right? So our next rapid recovery group is January 24th. We did set the date. So we are not having a group. Our next group ends in another week and a half. And then we'll be off for Thanksgiving and the winter holidays. And then we'll be back in January. So it is already enrolling for those of you who already know you need my help. But you can also set it as a milestone that, like, let me get myself healthy and reverse my disease before the new year. And then you won't need the group, right? Like, do it. I want to see all of you doing that. Let me see here. All right. Let's see. Condi wants to know in Smoothie Shred, could using shea butter as you do reverse wrinkles? Okay. Reversing wrinkles, I don't know that you can reverse wrinkles. I mean, that is the whole, that's the thing about wrinkles is once they're there, they are a part of your skin. However, being moisturized reduces the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. When your skin gets very dry, it looks a lot more crackly. I keep very moisturized. I love that greasy shea butter feel. So it does help you have more of a shine to your skin, and it reduces the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. But I do not know a way to undo a wrinkle. That I do not know. I celebrate wrinkles. As someone who was told I was going to die at 16, every line on my face is victory, whether it came from laughing or crying. It's a life lived, right? So we've got to celebrate that. Oh, thank you, David Green. I appreciate that you appreciate it. Let's see. So Sabrina says, hey, Dr. G, does someone who's had gastric bypass, Roux-en-Y, basically 150 centimeters of small intestine, has no contact with food, need additional protein from protein powders, hyper-nourishing, mostly vegan? I have not seen that be the case. I actually had clients, quite a number actually, who've had gastric bypass and then developed autoimmune disease because they followed their surgeon's advice on drinking protein shakes all day. And they became very malnourished and inflamed and really, really serious rheumatic disease. And how do we reverse it? With the smoothies. Sometimes they have to have small shots of smoothies like every hour or so, but most of them, by the time they see me, I've already stretched it out pretty well that they're able to do the full Goodbye Lupus protocol, even with having had the gastric bypass surgery. I'm always sad when folks get it. I have a good friend who does these surgeries, and he swears by them. But for me, it's like the idea of someone being intentionally malnourished forever. It's very difficult, to do the work that I want to do to help them get well. But if you've already had it, you can still get well. And we've had plenty of folks who have had gastric bypass do rapid recovery with us, and they're able to do the full thing. And none of them used any protein powders. Okay, let's see. Connie's going to get shea butter and chase the upcoming ones away. All right, let's see here. Okay, and all right, we have one more time. Let's see what's else on Instagram. Oh, Jen had a moment of, huh? Jen said, did my husband reach out to you to ask you to address your message for today? My psychic powers. I went, your husband? Who? Oh, I get it. All right. Sandy wants to know, can this program help you regain better kidney function if you're on dialysis? Yes, we've had awesome results on that. I've helped people get off of dialysis. I've helped people get off the kidney transplant list. Sometimes people will just go from, listen, if you've gotten yourself on dialysis, if you're at that point, any improvement is good. So we have seen people who are on dialysis, but then began urinating again. In my group, that's happened many times, often by the halfway mark, about 3 weeks in, suddenly urination again. I actually just saw someone yesterday seeing me privately where, she's taking care of someone who she actually wet herself, and she was excited about it. Like, oh my God, she urinated. She normally doesn't urinate like that. So we have seen that happen. And sometimes I had one lady who worked with me. She was on dialysis 3 days a week. And she was seeing me privately for appointments, and she was doing really well. And it got to the point that when it was time for dialysis, her numbers still looked good. So she asked her doctor, wait, do I need to have dialysis if my labs look good? And he wasn't used to that question. He goes, your labs are good. Okay, let's try 2 days a week. And she did 2 days a week for a month, and her labs still looked good even before the second dialysis. So then she was able to go down to 1 day a week. And then a couple months later, I saw her again. She goes, I'm off dialysis. And she's been off it ever since then, was able to go back to work. So there's nothing I've seen that has been more remarkable in terms of kidney function than our protocol. Does that mean everybody can get off dialysis? No. There's some folks I see where there's certain numbers that get better. Like we have some folks in our group right now that's GFR is like 3 or 4. That's a measurement of kidney function. You can kind of think of it like a percentage. So think if you have 3-4% of your kidney function. They still remarkably better coming off blood pressure medications and BUN coming down and all these other wonderful breakthroughs, but function is still pretty low, probably going to need continued dialysis, but at least optimize their health dramatically to be able to come off blood pressure medicines and have all these other good things happen. So it's still great for the health of people on dialysis. If you're on dialysis, though, you do have to be on a different program. So it is still hypernourishment, my Goodbye Lupus protocol, but it is a version of it where we're using very low potassium foods. I give them a lower dose of it depending on their kidney function, lower water intake based off of your nephrologist allowed intake, and watching their labs every week to make sure that I can increase nutrition as tolerated or decrease things as needed to make sure that we stay within the boundaries of what their body can tolerate with reduced kidney function. And fruit likes a news diet. Yeah, I'm on a news diet right now. That's how I keep smiling. I'm on a news diet. I'm on a good news hypernourishment and a regular news restriction plan. Oh my goodness. From Veronica. Oh, Veronica, our son who's 15 thinks Bart K knows all there is to know about health. I don't know who that is. The complete opposite of greens. He says we need cholesterol and meat. Please, this stresses me out. Isn't it sad how 15-year-olds think they know everything? I think this is something that we all have to go through, Veronica. I have a 15-year-old. Granted, he's a brilliant guy, but I tease him all the time when he tries to argue with me about something. I'm like, really, man? You're smarter than me, but I've got more years in. Give me time to be right, and then another 20 years from now, you'll be right more than me, right? So that's just part of the narcissism of youth. And it's good, right? Kids need to be a bit overconfident in order to be successful, right? Because kids have to be willing to take chances and to put themselves out there, right? They have to be able to, in order to be successful in this world, to have that level of confidence to believe that they know what they need to do. We want them to have that confidence. So I would turn that into a celebration, Veronica, and say, okay, the 15-year-old has confidence in himself and what he knows. He's not right about everything, but at least that's some good quality that can help him through his life. The good news is when your kid's 15, usually you're still buying the food. So he can think what he wants and you can feed him well anyway, while still educating him whenever you can. But yeah, you can also make it a point of humor and go, wow, if only I knew everything by 15, you know? But maybe that's just the New York sarcasm inside of me. But my house is welcomed. We joke about those things all the time. We do grow. This is a different generation because they grew up with the internet in a way where information is so widely available, even the wrong stuff. That was never around when we were younger. When I was a kid, I just asked my parents things, and if they didn't know, it just remained a mystery unless I could go to the library. How many of you remember that, right? If mom didn't know and dad didn't know, nobody knows until I can get to the library, and maybe somebody knows. And even then, the encyclopedia, by the time it's published, was already out of date, right? We had the whole encyclopedia set that my dad would get like every year with the updates, you know. These guys, I mean, by the time my kids were toddlers, they could ask me a question, I'd answer it, and then one of them would go, but should we Google anyway, just in case? And I go, why would you Google? I just answered. Because let's just fact check you, mom. So, you know, I think that's affected the confidence of the generation, but I would just try to praise the attribute in your son that allows him to have the confidence to believe that at 15, he knows more than a grown-up. That's a lot of confidence. And then you still be the grown-up that's in charge. I find for most folks, the thing that frustrates you most about your kid is probably also one of the things that's going to make them successful in their life, right? They talk back to you. That means they're willing to stand up for themselves, right? Like you can always turn things around. And I got my nickname Silver Lining for a reason back in the day when I was working with the homeless. But I always could see there's a positive side of everything. And if you have a kid that's willing to stand up and have an opinion and think and speak up, that's great. And then you still have to assert yourself as, that's good that you're doing this research. You're not getting all the information, and I'm still going to feed you the right way. But good for you for trying to learn and have your own ideas. That's a good thing. So, all right, everybody. I think this was a really good session. We had lots of different celebrations and questions in so many different areas. Hopefully I got to some new questions. I saw some new ones, some different ideas. And I hope all of you take my advice on working on your mental health. It is so important to take a break from news and reading about health and all these other things and just do things and ingest things both in your mouth and into your brain that makes you feel happier and more nourished, because our souls need nourishment too. I hope that helps you, and I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.